Hi friends, David here from Learn Stage Lighting, and today we're going to talk about the top 5-ish moving heads for medium-sized stages. Now, today we are going to be all over our Learn Stage Lighting Gear Above AVL gear guide. Why? Because it's new and you got to check it out. People have been asking us forever about this, like, hey, what are your kind of top picks of lights in various categories, and we're going to give that to you here. All that to say, today we're talking about spot fixtures. So I'm going to scroll down, spot moving heads, or actually just moving heads in general. Sorry, wash and spot. We'll start with wash actually. And we're talking about medium-sized stages. Now, what in the world is a medium-sized stage? That's a great question. If anybody can answer that, let me know. Seriously though, medium-sized stages, I would say, is the most vague and little, it's hard to know what somebody's going to constitute or what somebody's going to consider a medium-sized stage, right? In my mindset, it's generally like, okay, you're above like the really basic small kind of gigging band level of like stages in corners and, little 100-seat venues. And, you're up, 200-300 seats to 1,000-1,500 seats-ish. Like, it's a pretty wide range of stages, but it's kind of that area where you're like, okay, I'm not kind of in the small moving heads like we did in our last video like this, which you can check out here. But what I am is I need something with a little bit more punch, but still not huge and still is going to be affordable for me. What are we going to look for? Okay, I've got 5 to 6 really good options here because I just couldn't narrow it down. So, fixture number 1 on the side of the stage is a wash. When people come to us looking for a fixture, looking for some lights, whether it be front light, back light, whatever, a lot of times in these types of venues, I recommend moving wash fixtures first. Because whether you use haze or no haze, they're going to give you the most options as to what you're able to do. Of course, if you have no haze, you've got something that smoothly color mixes, it can zoom, it can move around, it can light different places. If you have haze, you'll be able to see that beam, which can also help and be really great. So that's kind of why we go with washes first. It's easiest to program them because they have smooth color changes. They have color mixing, whereas spot type fixtures don't always have that, especially not at the budget level. So there's kind of 2 right here: the Gamma Borealis RCZ and the Volux Sisma Z4. These are 2 of our very favorites. Okay, and the reason why I'm kind of lumping 2 here into one fixture is because they're really similar. They honestly have a pretty similar amount of output. I've compared them. I've set them side by side. I've taken them to customers for demos before locally, and they're very, very, very similar in a lot of ways, but they're different in some other ways. Okay, so first the Borealis. The Borealis is what we call a pancake wash a lot of times, where there's a lightweight plastic lens that can zoom back and forth over top of these LEDs and a aura-like effect. And the pancake washes do a couple things really well. One is they're going to be a little bit cheaper, not a ton, but a little bit, and they're going to have a smoother edge to the beam, especially when they're in a narrower zoom range. That being said, at their narrowest zooms, they're not as tight of a beam, and it doesn't look as good as through the air as a fixture like the Volux Sisma Z4 that has the glass front lenses and less LEDs, 7 LEDs instead of like 19. The LEDs have more wattage in a fixture like the Sisma, so these 2 fixtures are really evenly placed. They really are about the same brightness, but the Borealis is going to give you a little bit softer edge to the beam, just a little bit more pleasing for front light. It gives you a little bit less zoom range, but overall, really nice fixture, does a really great job. Okay, the Sisma Z4, it's going to move a little bit quicker. They're both very quiet fixtures, but the Sisma Z4 moves a little bit quicker. It's a little bit brighter, and the super narrow zoom that it can go down to of, I believe, 3.5 degrees, which we'll be putting clips throughout this whole video of all these fixtures and our demos and whatnot, so you can see them, from our reviews and all that. When it gets narrow, it's a really cool beam effect, okay? When you get to that narrow point, though, the edge definitely gets kind of sharp, and it's not smooth and soft, and it's sharp. And so it's definitely a look in the right kind of high energy type environments. It looks really great, but the light that comes out of it itself and kind of the color quality, it's a little more pinkish. It's a little punchier, but it just is not quite as good looking, but it still is often our top recommendation. It, comes in just a little bit over the RCZ typically in terms of cost, but in terms of functionality, a little faster, a little brighter. Build quality feels a little better on them. Both fixtures have been really reliable for our customers and really great options in terms of a wash. Now let's talk about spot and beam fixtures. So, for spot fixtures in the middle range, we have the Gamma TX4 and the Volux Spectra 300. This feels like a repeat of last time, right? We got the Gamma, we got the Volux. The biggest difference is the Gamma's half the price. But seriously, so the Gamma's an 150 watt non-zooming fixture. That's a spot. So it's got some colors, it's got some gobos, it's got a prism, and it's got a fixed 15-degree beam angle. Now, what's really nice about that is anytime you take a fixture like Gamma did with this one and you do a fixed beam angle instead of a zoom, you get a lot more efficiency because zoom optics tend to be less efficient than fixed lenses in pretty much every situation. And so because of that, you have a 150 watt white LED source that honestly is not as bright as the Volux Spectra 300 if you put them side by side, kick some haze in the room, compare them, or shine them at a wall. But it's probably 70% there. Just off the top of my head, just thinking about the actual look. Of course, we could look at the foot candle measurements, but even that, it's tough because you're taking a zoom fixture versus a non-zoom fixture. The beauty of it, like I said, is that, right now at the time of this recording, you can buy about 2 Gamma TX4s for the price of a Volux Spectra 300. So what makes the Spectra 300 so cool? Well, you get a lot more out of it, right? Obviously, you would get less lights compared to something like the TX4, but you get a really wide zoom range. It goes down, I think, to about 3.5 or 2.5 to about 40 or 60. We'll put it on the screen. And it has CMY color mixing, which out of a spot fixture, before the Spectra, there were not any fixtures at this price point that had that feature. And that makes your programming smooth transition between colors way easy. Okay, it's awesome. It's brighter. It's a really good quality build. We've had great reliability with them. They're both really highly recommended fixtures. It's just like, okay, the TX4, if you want a lot of fixtures and a lot of beams in the air, you can get more for your money. If you want something more versatile, the Spectra 300 definitely has that. Something that's going to be a little bit more smoother, going to have more light, it's going to have zoom, so you've got a wide zoom range, can do beam-like stuff, spot-like stuff. Can kind of do some wash-like things too. It's a really great fixture. So both totally awesome, really good picks for people kind of in that middle space. Next, we've got beam fixtures. So once again, we're in the middle. And here we have the Stryker beam and our Dominar X. So these two are both, again, awesome fixtures. The Stryker beam, 100 watt LED, pretty punchy, pretty nice fixture, a little bit loud on the fan noise, pretty much all the time that it runs, but it's a inexpensive fixture with an LED source, which I really like in a beam fixture for anybody using them on the long term. It took a while to get beam fixtures to LED, but the fact that you have no heat, no expensive lamps to change, no danger of setting things on fire with the beam, etc., it's just kind of a no-brainer to me. And the Stryker beam does a really great job with features, and it works pretty good. It's a fairly inexpensive light, but it's built well because it's from ADJ Group, and it's going to be awesome. The Dominar X is a fixture that we source custom. Gamma helps us source it, just, full disclosure there, so you know where it comes from. And it is a awesome 250 watt LED beam fixture, and it's outdoor rated. It's, only about, at the time of this recording, about 25% more dollars than the Stryker beam, and it's probably about twice the brightness, I would say. So it's a lot of bang for the buck. It's small, it's compact, it's pretty quiet. The variable speed fans really only kick in if you're running it at high percentages. It's got the typical colors. It's got a rainbow filter. It's got dual stacked prism, so it's like 16 by 8 in 2 rings. Really great fixture. Works great inside with haze, works great outside. Overall, just a really great fixture. So I hope you guys enjoyed these 5 or 6 fixtures today that we looked at, just some of our top moving heads for the mid-size stages. If you're looking for more or you listen to this and you say, okay, I think I know what I want, but maybe I want some advice or I just need help, then go over to Learn Stage Lighting Gear by Above AVL. We are your source for help for whatever you need. You just take fixtures, add them to your cart. You can add them to a quote list, ask us questions, and check out. Or just go over to the contact page. It's right here under resources. Contact us. You can fill it out. Ask us whatever you want. Say, hey, I need a recommendation for this. I need a recommendation for that. How can we help you? We love to help people every day, give people great, thorough, and quick responses so that you can find the right lights for your needs, and then we can get you your personalized price. If that sounds good, head over to Learn Stage Lighting Gear, and we would love to help you. Or else, even if we don't help you today, we'll see you guys in our next video. But we would like to help you. If you like audio, video, lighting, any of that kind of stuff, gaff tape, road cases, we've got it all. It's all at Gear. We'll see you there. Thanks.